Dr. Ravindra Rao ji for the 71st Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the participants, my colleagues from Ramratna International School and from various schools across our country. It's a pleasure to host you Monday after Monday. This is Dr. Jaya Parekh, the principal of Ramratna International School, on behalf of my school, extending a warm welcome to each one of you. Today's talk is going to be another memorable talk, very inspiring one. I know before it starts. Sir is one such persona who has inspired me from the very first day I met him. He made me think of such questions which usually are difficult to answer, but very, very critical and crucial to growth in life, to know the direction in life. Sir may not know it, but sir, you have been one of the inspirations that have given me the path and direction, have been very crucial in my journey as an educator. So I bow down to you and I welcome you as an Aadharshila speaker today on behalf of Ramratna International School. Friends, this topic is something which is so relevant. You all would be able to relate to all the aspects of this topic in your daily life. It's all about potholes on the road of life. We all know that on the road of life, there are several potholes. Do we really take time to understand what those potholes are? Why are they important to know? Can we be prepared to avoid them? Now, when we talk of life, I'm sure you all agree with me. When we talk of life, we think of relationships. Yes. So when we talk of good relationships, we all agree that a happy life depends on the foundation of good relationships. As we strengthen our own foundations, we strengthen those of others associated with us. It's very simple to understand or say, but can be the toughest to implement. Are there some components which can really help us strengthen our relationships? Do care, compassion, forgiveness play a role? Is it easy to develop those values, those critical components? Have you ever wondered who's the closest to me and why? And amongst the people I know, who's the farthest and why? We also know that when we talk of relationships, we always wonder how to avoid conflicts. Can conflicts be managed? And can conflicts be resolved? And is there a difference between conflict management and conflict resolution? I'm not going to answer this because I'm not the one with an authority to speak on this. But yes, Dr. Rao is. And today, Dr. Rao would take us through this memorable experience where we would be able to understand what are the potholes on the road of our lives and what can we do to navigate through them in a smooth manner. I would now formally introduce our speaker to all of you, Dr. Ravindra Rao, a dental surgeon and resident trustee of Moral Rearmament. Sir graduated from Bangalore University. He came across Moral Rearmament in 1964 as a student and took a break from his studies to work as a full-time volunteer for MRA. You all have heard of I of C, Initiatives of Change. We have had several past speakers associated with I of C. So MRA, you may consider it as same as I of C. Sir has been working as a full-time volunteer. 10 years later, he went back and completed his studies and went to UK for postgraduate training. Later, he set up practice in Bangalore. He is a pioneer in implant dentistry in the South. Dr. Rao has been active with MRA for almost 50 years. A trustee for many years, served on the International Council, lived and worked in many countries, and most significantly involved with the developments in Jamshedpur, where he worked with the Naxalites of the 1970s to influence them. Those Naxalites came to this center for an MRA conference. By this center, I mean to the Center in Asia Plateau, Panchgani, the I of C Center. The Naxalites came to the center of MRA for an MRA conference when they surrendered their weapons and made a commitment to abjure violence. So I think this is incredible. Dental surgeon, graduated from Bangalore, and over the years, making people graduate one level after another in their lives through his inspiring talks, through his influential personality, is Dr. Rao. May I request all the ladies and gentlemen to put your hands together to welcome Dr. Rao, the 71st Aadharshila speaker. Sir, I request you to take over. Once again, kindly accept my gratitude and my heartfelt welcome. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jaya. You made my job very difficult. Anyway, let people live with that illusion until they meet me. And then they will know the true Ravindra Rao.
No, once they meet you, they'll tell me, ma'am, you spoke very less about sir.
Well, it really has been a privilege to meet so many teachers for a long time. I'm not just talking of this wonderful group and you, Dr. Jaya, and your friends who have been doing so much through the Education Today, Society Tomorrow group. And we missed you at the retreat, which I didn't attend, but I met the attendees today. It was really good. The work that you are doing is something remarkable. It is the real education for life. And I take my hats off to you. And the kind of programs, you're arranging 70 programs of this kind. And you don't sit quiet, obviously. I mean, it really is remarkable. Thank you so much for doing all that. Thank you on behalf of the people who benefit from this. Thank you. Now, coming to the road of life. Now, you've given away the cat's out of the bag. Yes, it is about relationships. But before you come on to that, now I'd like to ask all your participants, those who are here, have you heard of and come across and experienced ups and downs in your life? In your career, in your relationships, in society? Have you? What are they? Some ups are so steep that many of us give up. And those who have the gumption and a determination to reach a particular goal will succeed. They won't be, they will not be put off by the steepness. Downs, well, that is a bit tricky, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit difficult to stop going down the hill. And a lot of us have experienced the downs in life as well. But that's not the topic of today. There's another thing I wanted to mention. There are also twists and turns in life, aren't there? A lucky turn, an unlucky twist, that also is there. And there again, your response to what you find decides where you reach. Isn't that right? So twists and turns, ups and downs. But now, what we are going to talk today about or discuss today, I really am not very good at giving a set lecture. I think Dr. Jayaji knows. I'm much more comfortable, interacting with people. Though, of course, I can never give up a chance to, buck a bit, and I do that the whole time. But I'm more comfortable discussing with people, groups, and all that. Now, coming to potholes, as I said, the cat's out of the bag already. It is relationships. There are minor potholes, major potholes. And there are potholes which are so big that can break your back or break your suspension spring, perhaps. And then, is there a permanent damage, or can you do something about it? And that is the question. And virtually, I'm yet to meet a person who has never faced even a minor pothole in life. I certainly have faced quite a lot, and some very major ones, which really put me back, and maybe things could have taken a different turn in life. I had to deal with it, and that let me not talk about that now. Um, you know, uh, I heard of a young couple, not yet married, wonderful young people having a great time. They enjoyed each other's company, went to restaurants, had a wonderful time. The relationship was so wonderful. And then something happened. They got married. That's when the problem started. What happens is, in any relationship, if you are far away, it's easier to handle. If you have to live with each other, that's when problem starts. And something like this I read, I think just yesterday morning. You think you are marrying a different kind of person, and until the next morning when you discover it is a different kind of person than you thought. So when you get closer, you get to know people. That's when the challenge in life starts, how you deal with it. Why is it important? You can always, of course, if you can't get along with somebody, you can, there's recourse to divorce, you can go away and all that. But unfortunately, wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So that's where the problem is. The problem is not only with the other person, it's with me too. And as teachers, you know how these children interact with each other. You will have observed, and you know what makes a child angry about the other. Generally, it is, I want my way. If I don't get it, I will get angry, generally. And some, of course, give in, and they probably don't get very far in life. A resolution. You asked a very good question, Dr. Jaya. The difference between resolving a relationship or managing a relationship. Managing a relationship requires ignoring a person or something that is wrong, or developing enough patience so that you can tolerate the other person, at best tolerate the other person. But what is needed is, in order to bring real unity in a school, in a society, in a state or a country, is resolution, which is accepting the other person, accepting them as they are. And the other components of building a relationship, relationships needs to be built, needs to be nurtured. I think I got one other point. It needs to be, it needs to be built and nurtured. You should initiate a relationship first. Well, actually, when you meet your future husband or wife, you have sort of initiated a relationship. Actually, when you get married, I'm talking of just one kind of a situation, it is planting a seed. it requires nurturing. It requires watering. It requires understanding what makes the plant blossom. It goes both ways, of course. We look after each other. And what happens when things go wrong, when you do hit a pothole? And usually it is a tu my battle that starts. You did that, so I did this. No, I didn't do it, you did it. You were first. It goes on, never ending. Now, that's when a pause is needed to see where you are wrong. It is not easy. It's very easy to say, especially when there is something wrong on the other side also. Generally, it is both sides also. Then what do you do? What do you do with the mistake of the other person? Isn't that a problem? Well, that problem needs a greatness in your heart to forgive. Forgiveness is a most wonderful bonding agent. People hold grudges for years and years and years. It achieves nothing. You forgive, and it is easier said than done. But once you do it, you get an amazing feeling. Even if the forgiveness is not fully accepted by the other person. But that's where you need to work on the other person. And when you do that, the deeper satisfaction you get is not anything short of a miracle, really. Now, it is not just at individual level, it is also at family level, it is also at a national level. Now, I just want you to see a short video clip. If you're please getting it ready, I'll just say a word about that. You see, Aborigines, in many countries, there are native people and people from outside went and occupied, and there was a lot of injustice done, and looked down on those people. And all. One such country was Australia. Most of us know the Aborigines of Australia. And the white man, or white woman too, went and took over the whole country and neglected and, in fact, even killed, and then tried to modernize them by bringing them away, taking them away from their parents to white homes to train them to become civilized. And that created a lot of heartache and a lot of problem. And a friend of ours who is also working with IFC had the thought that he's a white man, that there is a great injustice we have done to these local people. We must at least say sorry as a country. And he worked on that one. And in this short video, you see the result where the Prime Minister of the country invites these Aboriginal people and apologizes to them. And the opposition 100% supports the move. And of course, the move was initiated by people, neither by the government nor by the opposition. So can you please put on the video now?
Please play the video.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Inside Parliament House, Australia's new Prime Minister.
Spin on marketing head. Everyone, please spin on marketing head.
Members of the stolen generation to a special morning tea before he makes a public apology in front of the nation.
Today, we honour the Indigenous peoples of this land, the oldest continuing cultures in human history. We reflect on their past mistreatment. We reflect in particular on the mistreatment of those who were stolen generations. this blemished chapter in our national history. The time has now come for the nation to turn a new page in Australia's history by righting the wrongs of the past and so moving forward with confidence to the future. We apologise for the laws and policies of successive parliaments and governments that have inflicted profound grief, suffering and loss on these, our fellow Australians. We apologise especially for the removal of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children from their families, their communities and their country. For the pain, suffering and hurt of these stolen generations, their descendants and for their families left behind, we say sorry. To the mothers and the fathers, the brothers and the sisters, for the breaking up of families and communities, we say sorry. And for the indignity and degradation thus inflicted on a proud people and a proud culture, we say sorry. We, the Parliament of Australia, respectfully request that this apology be received in the spirit in which it is offered, as part of the healing of the nation. For the future, we take heart, resolving that this new page in the history of our great continent can now be written. We today take this first step by acknowledging the past and laying claim to a future that embraces all Australians. To the stolen generations, I say the following. As Prime Minister of Australia, I am sorry. On behalf of the Government of Australia, I am sorry. On behalf of the Parliament of Australia, I am sorry. And I offer you this apology without qualification. We apologise for the hurt, the pain and suffering we, the Parliament, have caused you by the laws that previous parliaments have enacted. We apologise for the indignity, degradation and the humiliation these laws embody. We offer this apology to the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, the families and the communities whose lives were ripped apart by the actions of successive governments under successive parliaments. So let us turn this page together, Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians, government and opposition, Commonwealth and state, and write this new chapter in our nation's story together.
Well, that happened about a decade and a bit ago. You can imagine the feeling in the entire country. Do you think the majority white people were very upset about it? I think that would have brought them a great healing. And imagine what would have happened to the Aboriginal people. And this is something remarkable that we should consider. And in that context, it becomes important for us to resolve our minor conflicts in our families, in our schools, in our offices, in our society. And we need to become the kind of person who brings people together naturally. And that, again, is not simple. It's so tempting and so much more interesting to gossip about somebody behind their back, to talk negative about people, than to give credit where credit is due, especially when it is due to the person with whom you're talking. And that is one of the key things I learned as a Rotary president. And mine turned out to be one of the best years, in spite of it being me. And even the Rotary International President, the first award that started as best president came to our club. And that one lesson I learned there was really, Rotarians, they love praise. And I learned that at least give credit where credit is due. And that really energized people and did so much, and I did so little, and I got all the credit. That is the beauty of building relationships in a positive manner. And another thing I still have to learn, and I'm trying, never ever entertain negative thoughts about other people. And certainly don't talk about that. There again, I have a long way to go, I must admit. And I must tell you one other thing that I learned as director of this center for 10 years. In my great enthusiasm, when I came in, I wanted to sort out everything. And I was pretty critical about what my predecessor had done. And I'm going to set it all right. But I soon discovered it's not that easy. You have to deal with people. That is not so easy. And there were so many demands, and the workers would get together, they would demand for more wages and all that. And then I learned what was missing was building a relationship. Basically, our workers are, fortunately, we got wonderful people who work. I think Dr. Jai will bail me out on that one. They are very silent and very efficient in their work and very, very caring to all the guests without overpowering, always smiling and all that. And with such people, I needed to learn not to be strict, you see. And I'm going to get this fellow to do this, I'm going to do this and all that. But a little bit of taking time and talking to them. In other words, building a relationship helped a lot. In spite of the fact that I don't speak the local language, but I could make use of several friends who could help me. And of course, all these people speak Hindi as well. So this is a possibility. Building up a relationship, then it becomes your nature. Whatever field you go into, you will enhance your office, your school, your work, and things will go well for everybody. If somebody else takes credit, hallelujah, wonderful. What do you want to lose anything? And eventually people will get to know who did the real work, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But that work was done gives you a happiness which no praise or awards will give you. Of course, they're wonderful to receive them. Now, the other thing is, if somebody is ruining your day, ruining your, please tell me if I'm overshooting the time, if ruining the day and the relationship is about to break, what are you going to do? What are you prepared to do? What's the price you're prepared to pay to keep a relationship? This is an important thing. Particularly, as I said earlier, if the other side is also wrong. Is it not necessary to give a feedback? Generally, our feedback is flying off the handle. And tell you, fool, why did you do this? This is not, I don't appreciate this, and all those and immediate. That is reaction. What we need is not reaction, we need response. And response needs time. It's necessary not to react immediately. And feedback itself is a subject. Who should give the feedback? You may not be the best person for that particular person. And when should it be given? What's the time? Look at it. And you should neither, nor should you leave it too long, but you just have to pick the moment. And how should you give it? These are all the essential. How much should you give it? Most of the time, my seniors have always ended up giving me a lecture for half an hour on what I did wrong and how I should do things differently and all that. I'm afraid it hasn't had too much of an effect, except that I begin to resent that person as well, in addition. So that one has to be careful about that. Now,
So we are receiving some thoughts in the chat box. Should I read it out to you?
Please, that would be a great help.
So with earlier examples that you have given, we have received this comment, relevant and very true. People have been agreeing with your thoughts. Mr. Greg says, when you said one should know when to talk and what's the right time. So he says, talk once things are calm and the time is right for listening to each other.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, can we get back to the road for a minute? If we consider life to be a road, where is it leading us? Years ago, I saw a play in that everybody is busy. Ravindra, come on, let's go quickly. When it's getting late, let's go. And the fellow asked, where are we going? Oh, I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. And that is an important thing to know, where you're going in life. And one is a goal for your life, which is perhaps you can compare that to a milestone. And that is not necessarily the destination. What's the destination for your life? And is it different for different people? Think about it. The destination, is it different for different people? Is there a common purpose for all of us human beings? But that's again something to think about. Or is it that each one goes his own way, or each group goes his own way? And what if there is conflict of interest? How do we handle that? This is something to think about. This question has been answered several thousand years ago. Why was human being sent down to earth? In a jungle, everybody lives harmoniously together. Probably some tigers overeat, but generally they survive all right. They don't eat up the entire, the population of the lambs or whatever. They have their limits, and each plant supports another plant. When there are conflicts, everyone supports the other. What about humans? We have something special. We have a thing called the pride. I am proud of this, proud of that. And there is a desire to dominate. Isn't that true? We may not personally, but our group, maybe our country. Let me not mention any names, but can you think of a country who is desperately trying to be economically number one, militarily number one? Are there not? I mean, has there not been in the past such attempts and which has perpetuated world wars? No, is there something now? I mean, you see, now for a long time, compared to the gap between First and Second World War, for a long time, we've not had a world war. Does that mean that we have found great love for each other? We have great fear that we may all be finished if there is another war. That's the reason we are not gone to war. The skirmishes take place. I believe there are some over 200 skirmishes going on around the world, smaller ones and some larger ones. And that again comes back to relationships. Relationships is, well, potholes on the road. And the road, where should it lead? Where is it leading? Does humanity have a road to follow? Maybe different roads, but as they say, all roads leads to Rome. Is there a Rome? Or do we go our own way? That is a major question which has been answered thousands of years ago in this very beautiful small quote. Atmano mokshartham jagad hitaya cha. Just think about it. Atmano mokshartham jagad hitaya cha. It is, moksha is liberation to the self, to the innermost thing in you. And that is achieved by finding complete peace. And, you can go into philosophy and talk about this, the six enemies, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, and if you can get freedom from it, it's very, very important. I'm saying it rapidly. That's an extremely important diagnosis that of our enemies. They are supposed to be our enemies. And how we deal with them, our indriyas perceive them, our mind commands the indriyas, and our buddhi sort of tries to weigh one against the other. It can either follow, well, a great buddhi can tell you how to rob, also a great buddhi can tell you what is good for you. All those things are there. And eventually, what matters is saha, inside me. Deep inside, we are all really good people. That is evidenced by the fact that a newborn child, as a baby, has no evil in it. That wrong things come from outside. We internalize them and we become with an angry person, hate-filled person, or whatever it is, because we imbibe it from outside. We are not made that way, not meant to be that way. So mokshartham is to free ourselves from all that. And then the second part of it is jagad hitaya cha. Jagad hitaya cha. Not my caste hitaya cha. Not my state hitaya cha. Not even my country hitaya cha. Jagad hitaya cha. Unless we work for the welfare of the whole world, we cannot build a new world. You cannot. It is crazy to think that any one caste, race, class can dominate the world, especially today, in this day and age. Everybody has access to everything virtually. And so you cannot sort of say that you will be, you will dominate everybody else. So that's an important thing. And has anybody got any comments on these thoughts? I would be very interested to know.
Participants can unmute and speak up.
Mute and speak up. Yes, it will delight me.
What I personally feel is, when you were asking, do we have different destinations or it's different road? But I feel what you have said it should be the common destination for the entire humanity. So these two parts of the verse from the Veda, I think that should be the common destination we all should be heading towards.
However, the callings can be different. Roads can be
Yes.
different.
Yes.
You can do it as a teacher. I can do it even as a dentist.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
you can do it as a lawyer, so long as you are treading that path.
Bahujan Sukhaya, Bahujan Hitaya, or
Right?
Sarva Bhuta Hiterataha. I think these,
Yeah.
for thousands of years, we have been guided by these verses. It's up to us whether we want to implement and imbibe in our actions. Any of our participants who would like to express their thoughts?
Please do.
Namaste, ma'am. Namaste, sir.
Yes. Namaste, Pushpendra.
Sir, what I realize is that, we, although ma'am said, we perhaps have one destination, holistically speaking. However, in a larger context of things, like you said, with a different responsibilities that we hold on this planet for ourselves may differ here and there. Like, body parts, hand plays a different role, and so on. So this is my understanding of the whole thing so far. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Mala Roy from BDM International. My thought is that we are born on this earth and everybody actually plays the part destined previously. We become doctors, engineers, teachers, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, say there is one destination, that is death is the ultimate to each and everybody. We come to this earth, play our part as a, say, daughter, mother, sister, brother, father, different relationships. But at the end, everybody has to, say, face the same fate, that is death. So this much I could understand. This is my knowledge. So we should not be proud of anything in life. We are born to play our part. So if we are gaining, say, some position or something like that, I think we should distribute it among the others in any way which we can.
Very good thought. I know what you mean by we should not be proud, but there is, proud, if it implies ego, yes, definitely not. But if it implies that I'm very happy that I'm able to do this, that's a very good kind of pride, which does not take away from somebody else.
Yes, sir.
You're rightly proud, but you're humbly proud.
Yes, sir.
Very strange.
Yes, sir.
A beautiful oxymoron.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Malaji.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Now tell me, can we reach this goal? Jagat Hitaya means what?
So if some participants would like to answer, please do that.
It's for the hit of the Jagat.
Yeah.
That is betterment of the whole world, I think.
Yeah.
To me,
Gandhiji. Sorry, go on, please.
To me, I think that whatever I have or I am gaining knowledge in my course of life, if I can be of any kind of a little bit of help to anybody on this earth, then I'm doing my part, a kind of hit, a good thing for the humankind. My thinking is in that way, sir.
My internet seems to be giving a little trouble.
Yes, I feel so. Sir is facing some network issues. I totally agree with you, Malaji. I also feel our simple actions, let's say, towards the nature, which are meant which are meant to benefit the whole world, the entire nature, and the entire humanity. Suppose you decide not to use single-use plastic or plastic in general, or any such thing which is affecting the environment, then I think this is with a thought of Bahujan Sukhai Bahut Hitai or Jagat Hitai.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, perhaps the implication
So
is
we can't hear you clearly.
all of creation,
Dr. Rao?
is cared for.
So I'm not able to hear you clearly. And so do you have two devices with the mic on?
Well, one device is not working, so I am working on the WhatsApp.
But sorry to tell you, sir, I can't hear you clearly. And if I could request you to put mic off on one of the devices. So is audible to all? Is sir audible to everyone clearly?
Yes, ma'am, it's audible.
Oh, no. I mean, 2-3 participants say he's not audible. I think sir got disconnected. I'll just check with sir and get back.
Hello.
Namaste.
Yeah, there seems to be some problem. Yeah, I got it here.
So we can see you now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Can you hear me also?
Yes, sir, we can hear you and we can see you.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. This center thing is giving a little trouble.
It's perfectly fine, so it keeps happening.
Yeah. Has somebody come up with the brilliant answer of what this ultimate goal is? Yes, Jagat Hitaya. Then what is it? It's not ultimate goal. Okay, it may be a little difficult to articulate it. I mean, we can call it the new world, and world everybody is happy, everybody has enough to eat, and such things. But can we achieve?
I have a thought.
Please. Yes.
I feel if we all realize this, that the change begins with me, and I am responsible for what happens in my life, what happens around me. I'm responsible about the contribution I make to the world, and then I'm conscious about my thoughts and actions and words, how it impacts people around me, how it impacts things around me. Then I think we are contributing to the world at large.
Perfect.
Being conscious that we don't bring in any negativity, any negative impact.
Yeah, that's true. You see, I know of nobody who has changed the whole world, but I know so many, many great people who have influenced the world hugely. Without them, world would have been a different place. our country would have been a different place. And that is something that we are all called upon to do. I don't think any of us are meant to sort of build the whole new world. I mean, Napoleon thought he would do it, or not Napoleon, that I think is more Hitler who did that, who tried. Unfortunately, it backfired. So it doesn't work that way. I mean, usually you use force for a thing like that. But the weapon here is love, compassion, and care for each other, and cultivate that to everybody. And this is one thing that I've learned through studying some of these people, is that anybody nobody is capable of hating them. Even if they do, nobody is capable of eliciting hatred towards them, with them. And that's a remarkable character, which I think is humanly possible to achieve. Humanly possible to achieve. A few people have done it. And I don't see why some of us should also not try for that, for the sake of the world, for the sake of our own children. And they will live in a very different world if there is no love, care, compassion around the world. Any other comments?
So I also feel there's a connection in the entire saying. So when we talk of moksha and we also talk about jagat, it indirectly says that if you are, thinking of moksha or nirvana, it's not possible unless you live your life with the thought of jagat hitai.
That's right, 100%. You have hit the nail on the head. You cannot separate the two. If you're a very unhappy person, you cannot make the others, you cannot bring hita to others. But if you don't bring hita to others, you can never be at peace. In fact, that's the way to get peace. You're absolutely right. That's the, you see this has been said thousands of years ago, and yet we have not learned. That is a sad thing. We understand it, but we don't learn. That's why I think what I will really feel happy about today's talk is if a few of us go away thinking that we are going to make this decision, that potholes will be dealt with by forgiveness, mending. We can correct. And if we think of one or two specific cases where that mending is required and take positive, concrete steps towards that without expecting any results, or rather expecting the best of results and without being disappointed if you don't get it. And if you do that, that would give me immense joy, as if I have brought Jagat Hitaya. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Jaya. And I hope things are okay on home front, your daughter and all that. And
Yes.
I think your school will go a long, long way under your leadership. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure. With blessings of people like you, we definitely would do some good work with the intention of Jagat Hitai, and
Well,
that probably would lead us to moksha. I don't know. Like Sir said, don't worry about the results, or prepare for the best results. So hopefully, with your blessings and mentorship, we would continue doing the same. I would like our participants to share their thoughts on today's session. This interaction with Sir must have definitely made you analyze your own thoughts throughout this session. Please feel free to share any thoughts that crossed your mind. Mr. Kapoor has been writing in the chat box. May I request you, Mr. Kapoor, to please unmute and share your thoughts.
Yep.
He probably is facing some problem with the mic.
Namaste, ma'am. Namaste, sir.
Yeah.
Namaste, Greg.
Okay.
This is Greg here from Ramratna International School. This is one of the best sessions, I would say, because it is really touching our soul. Such kind of revisiting of this concepts of forgiveness and talking about how to strengthen your relationships is needed, because at times in the flow of time we forget these values, forget these beautiful lessons that we need to imbibe in us, and also carry forward with our relationships. So the session was really soul searching and an enriching one. Thank you for this session, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am, for organizing this one. Thank you.
Namaste again. So yes, I second what Greg sir said precisely. I really, took a lot of things within this within 1 hour's time with you, sir. I can't imagine how it has impacted me as well personally. Thank you so much, ma'am, for bringing in such a influential, people who have lived their life maybe 50 years or 40 years before my life. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there is a lot of food that you have given us for deliberation, for thought. We'll continue with this session in our minds. It doesn't just end with this 1 hour. I must appreciate the patience you have shown, the calmness you have shown right from the beginning till the end, even during this turmoil of, the curveballs that the technology and internet connectivity throws at us. There is so much to take from you. I think this itself is an immense learning, how to be calm. I always see that calmness in you, and I think that's one of the important factors in managing the potholes of life, or avoiding those potholes in the relationship. So thank you so much. I would also like to ask if Jayashree ma'am is here, and if she could also speak. I'm sure our audience would like to meet Mrs. Rao. Ma'am, namaste. If you are here, please unmute yourself and please come before the camera if you could. So I hope I'm audible. Is ma'am there around? Because when you talk of relationship, and I have seen the kind of beautiful relationship you both have. And if I'm not wrong, you both met at the Central Asia Plateau itself. I don't know how long back, maybe 4 decades ago.
Yes.
And then you have been together, such beautiful couple, such a beautiful couple. So I would like to hear from ma'am if she's available there.
I don't know whether she is there.
Okay, because she joined us in the beginning. I thought she's around. So please give my regards to ma'am. And
Thank you.
there is a lot to take away from today's session. You have, like Mr. Greg said, we know about the values and the importance of these values of compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, acceptance. But then we really need to think and see when today, where I'm supposed to apply these values in life. Keep analyzing the relationships. Don't postpone it for the next day. That, okay, today this is important. Tomorrow I will think about what's happening with my husband, what's happening with my daughter, what's happening with that employee or my boss or this or that. These relationships are as important as any other professional goal or target you are looking forward to achieving. And probably if you manage and resolve the conflicts in relationships, it would become much easier for you to move ahead in a more smooth and confident manner in your professional lives as well, which most of the times people attach more importance to. So like sir said, the foundation of happy life is in our relationships. So today there's a lot that we have taken away, but don't turn it into just knowledge. This was not a session on knowledge. This was about taking it further ahead, trying and connecting with ourselves, finding the direction for ourselves, and then reaching out to those people and making those corrections where they are needed, and keep doing it on a daily basis. So thank you so much, sir.
Good evening, dear ma'am.